And so the challenge of familiarity is gratitude. And when you lose gratitude, you stop having reverence for that thing. Hi guys, Dr. C here with the Actualize Center. Another great topic. As always, I get sent the topics by Ms. Glow, who goes on the net and finds the questions for us. So thank you so much, Ms. Glow. I have not read the questions as always. Let's jump on this topic together. And so the topic of today is familiarity. All right, awesome. Very interesting. All right, familiarity. So jump with me over the next 3 questions and let's see what happens. Question number 1. What are some potential downsides of familiarity, such as complacency or boredom? By familiarity, I believe this is more on the negative, which is when you get used to someone so much that you used to be inspiring, you're no longer inspired. They normally say nobody is a hero to their valet, right? Back in the day, the person who used to cater for you, go everywhere, or maybe let's say in modern times, nobody's a hero to their personal assistant, right? Because they see if in another way your nakedness, right? They see you when you're not before cameras, not in public, when you're just letting loose. And so there's a very great chance that you can be a personal assistant to a very great person and yet learn nothing from them because you became too familiar, you became too buddy-buddy with them, right? And so going to those are the potential downsides, right? And so when you are in the presence of someone that you are supposed to be growing by learning and examining them, yes, be friendly, be cordial, but always put in the back of your mind that I'm gonna have a duality with this person. There's a moment in time that I need their mentorship, so I'm gonna literally remove the friendship thing and I'm gonna call them according to mentorship so I can gain, right? So let me go to question number 2 so I don't talk too much. How can familiarity lead to taking things for granted? Number 2, how can familiarity lead to taking things for granted? And that's basically what we said. When you're so familiar with something that's supposed to be a great blessing, you can almost render it, you might take it down from the pedestal you're supposed to keep it. And so that is something that you shouldn't do. Not even that, even things. Right, you can be blessed with a plane, right? You can be, while most of the human population have a hard time traveling, you can have your own plane, but you can have it for so many years that you just take it for granted, right? And so the challenge of familiarity is gratitude. When you become too familiar with something, you lose gratitude, and when you lose gratitude, you stop having reverence for that thing, right? Many of us take our spiritual leaders, our pastors for granted. We don't show any gratitude. We take our spouses for granted, right? In fact, we should start with spouses because that's the highest endeavor. We take our spouses for granted. And so I always say, always walk your life with a sense of gratitude, right? Not enslavement, gratitude. Question number 3. What are some strategies for balancing familiarity with novelty or excitement? What are some strategies for balancing familiarity with novelty or excitement? All right. That's a hard question. I'm not even sure if I can answer it completely correctly or what exactly unfortunately I get sent the questions. I cannot follow up with what do you mean by that? But my interpretation is this. I believe that there's a healthy place of reverence and a healthy place of friendship, right? I don't believe in usership where, you hail somebody to the level of a god, right? I believe you should have, if you're going to be close to somebody, it's good to build a healthy relationship, right? And so you don't become a sycophant. right? And so be familiar, but at the same time, also don't be on the other end, which is to exalt somebody too far, right? So be balanced. I always say this: look at different quotes. There's a time where I can have a quote, we are friends, and I teach. There's a time when I have my teacher's quote, we're not friends, right? You have to be able to separate that in your mind to where it's like when you're dealing with, even if it can be a close friend, right? But when they put on the robe, right, of a teacher, you respect that. You say, hey, teacher, tell me, even though they're a friend. The reason why is because you value the treasure inside of them. See, when you are familiar, you no longer value the treasure inside someone. Because you say, hey, I know that person, we're just friends. And that's the funny thing is, you are close to someone, yet somebody is getting more treasure out of them than you because of that. And so I always say, balance it off. Be wise. All right? Be wise. Right? Like I said, have dualities with people, right? When they're in a different stage, reverence them according to that quote. Don't be like one of those people who be like, that's just my friend, I don't care. No. If I have a friend and they're president, I'm going to call them, hey, Mr. President, when they have the coat of president on. When we are hanging out, there's a different coat. Right, have different coats for different situations, right? Have wisdom. How can you avoid becoming too comfortable or stagnant in familiar situations? Right? How can you avoid becoming too comfortable or stagnant in familiar situations? All right, so I guess there's a fourth question. Again, this comes down to you need to stop. We all need to stop and think about the question of familiarity. And we need to stop and start looking at from the very top things that have become normal, or we've got to enjoy a greater continuous frequency of them that have made them familiar. So start at home. How do you reverence your spouse? Right? Do you have any reverence for your spouse? Do you honor them? Do you value them? Start there, right? That is the first stage of practice. And then from there, look at your surroundings. Are you so familiar with God that you don't think it's necessary to spend any time with him in the morning? Are you so familiar with your mentors, right? And so one of the biggest problems sometimes young people have is trying to be too familiar with the people you're not supposed to be too familiar with, right? And so be friendly with people, but understand why they've been called into your life. A lot of people in your life are treasure boxes. It's just that you are so familiar with them as just friends that you are not able to tap into that box. And so you need to stop and sometimes say, hey, I know we are friends, but I want to talk to you right now as a banker. I know, I'm not going to be too familiar with you that I cannot learn and grow from you. All right. And so, hey, I know I've gone through this real quick. I hope you've been blessed and I've gotten something. This is Dr. C again with the Actualize family. And so, as always, like, subscribe, and share, right? The topic of today was familiarity. I pray that you don't end up being too familiar with the good stuff that you've gotten in life, that you take it for granted, right? And so gratitude is the mark of a person who is staying away from familiarity. Until next time, bye-bye. Be blessed.
Welcome to Actualize Talks, your destination for purpose discovery, setting vision goals, and fostering leadership growth.
I'm joined in studio by Dr. Casper. Dr. Casper.
Joining me now in the studio, we have Dr. Casper.